So I decided to start a new series, and my very first guest on the Penterview series is Lorelei from Handmade by Lorelei. And if you would like to introduce yourself really quickly so that everybody gets to know you, that would be awesome.
Sure. As she mentioned, my name is Lorelei. You can call me Lori for short. I live in upstate New York. I've been obsessed with fountain pens since 2020, and here we are.
Yeah, I found you on YouTube because I think you put up a video about your whole ink collection. Is that true? And
I think, well, it might have been my pen collection.
Yeah. And that's how I found you. So when did you start? How did you
I started buying pens as soon as the lockdown started. So probably April, I want to say, of 2020. I had been laid off from my job permanently. So I was, and that was just a part-time job. Mm-hmm. I'm actually a jewelry designer, and I do that full-time. But I had a part-time job at a quilting shop and got laid off. So had a little bit of extra time on my hands. And I ended up watching, I know where it all kind of began. I started watching pen pal videos on YouTube because I have always loved letter writing from the time I was a child, and I wanted to connect with my family and friends that I wasn't able to see in person. So I started writing to my sister and a handful of girlfriends. And I think that the first blog I ended up watching on YouTube was the Paper Letter blog. I don't know if you're familiar with that channel.
I'll link it in the description box below.
Vivian is her name, I believe, and she doesn't live in the US. She lives, I think, in the Netherlands, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that once I started watching those videos, what just naturally came up in my feed on YouTube was fountain pen stuff. So here we are. I fell hard down that rabbit hole.
So what was your first fountain pen that you purchased?
So at that point in April, I bought a Pilot Metropolitan from Jet Pens.
Okay. And How did that go?
It went wonderful. Actually, I loved the pen so much. And that just got me watching more and more videos about different fountain pens, and I slowly learned about the nib sizes. Mm-hmm. And I have very largish handwriting, so a real fine line. Although I do love a fine gel pen, I really wanted to see the ink more. So ended up, I don't remember what my second pen was, but I'm sure it was a broad nib something or other.
Okay, so the first one wasn't a broad nib though.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And no, my Pilot was a medium nib, I think.
And so what color ink did you put into that? Just a random ink that was there, or?
I think I just used the cartridge that came with it.
Yeah. But it still made you get a second pen.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I loved it. And looking way back, like the first time I ever bought a fountain pen was when I was at college. Mm-hmm. And I bought a Pilot Varsity, one of those little disposable ones. And I loved writing with that too. So I think that's why I stuck with Pilot, because I was familiar with the brand. And I thought, those pens are pretty good, those disposable ones. So I'm sure, I don't know what a Pilot Metropolitan costs. I don't think it was more than $20. I don't know. But at that time, that was what I wanted to kind of spend on a pen. And so I ended up getting that and some other little bits and pieces for pen paling. And so that's how it all started. But
so the Pilot Metropolitan was your first one. And then how many fountain pens do you have right now? You don't have to tell me the whole full number.
I wrote it down. I have 34 pens at the moment.
So That's where you're at right now, and they're mostly broad nib pens.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most all of them are. And you know, it's changed a lot in the last 6 to 8 months or so, because I ended up, you know, in the collecting phase of a new hobby, ended up buying like a little bit of everything just to see what I liked and didn't like. So I did have a handful of medium nibbed pens in my collection that I ended up selling to buy more broad nib pens. So yeah, most of them are broad. I'd say I have a couple of fines and maybe like one medium. I think one of my Quebecos is a medium.
Mm-hmm. Do you use your pens in every, like, when do you use your pens for writing? Just everyday, daily companion?
Definitely letter writing for sure. I keep my inked pens right on my desk, so they're easy to grab. So I'm writing on my desk calendar with them. I'm writing, I actually just started journaling this year for the first time ever. So I'm using a Hobonichi, which I'll never buy another type of journal ever because this is like the perfect paper and I just adore it. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of journaling, and now I'm like sketching and I'm doing all the things. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing whatever I see other people doing. So initially this started out with just wanting to be able to see the ink, you know? So I'm just like writing a full page, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty easy to write a full page. And then the next day I wrote another full page. And I'm like, this is easier than I thought. So it's been really, really nice to be able to use my pens more in this kind of capacity than just letter writing, because let's be honest, I get like maybe a letter a week, if that. I mean, I have since obtained quite a few pen pals over the last year or so. So I'm writing from people, I'm writing to people from all over the world. So it's kind of cool.
That's so cool.
It is cool.
So you're a full-time artist, and then you journal and you knit. How do you get it all into your day?
I just started taking B12 shots. No, I'm just kidding. No, that is true actually. But I don't know, this week I've had way more energy than normal, and I can only attribute it to the B12 shot. I don't know. I sleep a lot. I don't have any kids. That's probably why I have a lot of time, you know? And my husband and I are extremely independent of each other. So like we each have our own interests, and we're okay with just spending an evening in separate rooms of the house doing our own thing. So I have a lot of time to do stuff. I tend to knit in the mornings and a little bit after dinner, but I don't knit for hours and hours a day. I knit for an hour, if that. Wow. And then, journaling, I'm not journaling every day. I'm journaling when I have something to say. And yeah, I mean, along with the pen paling, that there's been a whole paper crafting obsession that I've started having. So watching a lot of videos on YouTube about making my own little folders and things to hold pen pals. And I just love that. I've always loved paper and pens. This is something that my aunt on my dad's side of the family, his only sister, she and I were two peas in a pod. She took me to all the stationery shops when I was growing up. She took me sticker shopping, and I was obsessed with Hello Kitty way back then. So, oh yeah.
I totally, on a side note, yesterday I sorted, or the day before, I sorted through all of my stationery for letter writing, and I found all these. My mom gave me so much stationery for my birthdays when I was in elementary school, and I still found one piece of stationery from that time, and it's like I put it in my memorabilia box because I'm not ever going to use that, but that was basically when all of my paper and pen obsession started, because she found the best stuff and gave it to me for my birthday. Yeah.
Awesome.
So how have we already touched on that, but you knew already that your handwriting pretty big. And so your tastes haven't really changed, have they? Have your ink tastes changed? Did you already know what you wanted from the start?
No. I mean, at the start of 2020, when all this began, I fell in love. I wrote this down. I fell in love with all those really, really light inks, like the really shimmery ones that look really great in a swatch, but then once you get them in the pen, they're not so good. So, like for example, there's a Vinta ink that I had wanted forever, and I finally bought the bottle of it. It's called Mermaid Green or Sirena or Serena. I have no idea. That I can't stand that in a pen. It's awful. I can't even read. I can't even read any of it. And then like Sailor Manyo Neko Yanagi is a little on the light side. That's better than the Vinta, but yeah, I gravitated towards all those really pretty shimmery things. And then I just kept wondering, why aren't my pens working well? And I think that when I finally got that, what I really want is saturated ink that has a lot of shading in it. I don't go for, I've never bought black ink. I never will. I never bought a black pen other than that Pilot Metropolitan. I never will buy a black pen. I don't know why. That is like the furthest. I would, there's just so many different colors and I mean, why would you buy a black pen when you could buy a highlighter yellow pen?
Yeah. My friend Mara has that pen or this color combination too, and it just is so pretty, stunning.
It's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So, so I stay away from really dark inks, but I do like saturated, brighter colors, I suppose you could say. I like earthy tones too, like Moss Park Green from Ferris Wheel Press is probably one of my absolute most favorite colors of all time. And I'll always have a bottle of it on hand. It's one of my favorites.
So are you going through bottles of inks?
The Ferris Wheel Press bottles I am. I'm getting low on a couple of them. Yeah, I use those a lot. They're my favorite. They work so well in all of my pens. So I use them a lot.
So what's your favorite Ferris Wheel Press? That's Moss Park Green?
Yeah, Moss Park Green for sure. Mm-hmm.
I have to try that for sure. Put it on my list. Or you could send me a sample of that.
I will do that. Absolutely.
So do you have any inks or pen brands that you have not tried yet, but that you absolutely would love to get your hands on if you could?
Yeah, I wrote notes about pens, but not about the inks. I don't think so. Not at this point. I don't have any like that I am dying to try, other than the Pilot Irushizuku inks, which I've heard so many good things about, and I've used a couple. Do you know Ramona?
Yes.
She's in Canada. She sent me a sample of Yamabudo. Love it. Love it. It's like exactly what I like in an ink. It's bright and colorful, and I don't really notice too much of the sheening.
Yeah.
Just a slight like yellow tint to it, but I want to definitely try more of those for sure. I love the bottles. They're really pretty, but they take up way too much space. Like I can't. Look around me. I don't have that much space here. I am like using up every square inch of this room for things. So yeah, no.
So when you don't like a pen, do you just get rid of it? At this point, do you think your collection is complete?
No.
Okay. No. But you're ruthless. You're like, okay, this is not working for me. Let's get it out of the house.
I go through binges where, just because I've had good luck selling fountain pens, lightly used on mostly Facebook Marketplace, and I haven't even tried anywhere else.
Okay.
The ones that I've listed there have all sold like pretty quickly. I'm shocked. So I've sold a bunch of pens just to buy like a Grail pen. At the time, it was a Pelican. So I'm buying the M605, and I wanted this pen so bad. And so I sold like, I don't know, 20 pens so that I could buy it.
So did it turn out to be what you expected it to be?
And more. It's everything. It's one of my most favorite possessions of all time is this pen. Yeah.
And what are your favorite pens at the moment?
Well, currently I am really loving the Franklin Christoph because this is my newest pen. But I also really love my Sailor, and that's like, I have two Sailors. I have the Pro Gear that was a collaboration with the Yoseka Stationery. The Refresh is what it's called. This is my most expensive pen.
Okay.
And yeah,
even more than the Pelican?
Yes, because I think the Pelican, I got a little bit more of a deal on it because I bought it from Apple Boom. So it was just a little bit cheaper there. And the Sailor.
What nib size is that Refresh pen?
It's a broad nib.
And I heard so much about the feedback that the pens have. Do you experience the same?
Yeah, now I have had a Pro Gear Slim before that I bought and have since sold. It was part of the Shikiori series. It was like a matte finish, and it had the medium fine nib that those only have on them. It's just one kind of nib. And that, if you want to call it feedback, you can. I thought it was scratchy, but I hated every second of writing with that pen. It was terrible. So I went out on a limb when this came up. I had to like think fast though, because they sold out really quickly. These pens sold out really, really fast. So I was there, and I was so happy to see that their Pro Gear, the Pro Gear Basic, came in all of the nib sizes. I think they just went up to broad. I don't think that they had a zoom available, but maybe they did.
I think actually Carrots and Olive bought a zoom.
Okay. So they might have just had all of them available, and I ended up just going with the broad, and I'm so glad that I did. It's like, no, it's not the broadest nib in my collection for sure, but it is exactly what I want out of a Sailor, Okay. It's exactly the line width that I would want a pen to have. And the only one that tops this is the zoom nib that I have I have a Sailor 1911 standard. Okay. That I got a great deal on Pen Chalet. And that is a cool nib because it writes in so many different line widths, depending on the angle that you're writing with it. So that one is, but the only thing is it's a bright yellow. So sometimes I have a hard time like filling this with other colors, for some reason. I don't.
Do you match your colors of no?
I can't, just because I don't have that big of a collection of ink to do that with, and yeah, so I pretty much put any color in my pens. It just depends on the width, the line width. I want to put something in there that I know will work well, or that is wet enough or dry enough, or not saying that I really know all of the ins and outs of all my ink. That makes me sound like I'm, a real pro at that stuff. But I'm
experiment.
Yeah.
And do you have currently another Holy Grail pen after you acquired that Pelikan? Is there another one on your list?
Yes, I do. Right now, it's the Pilot Custom 823.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard so many great things about that pen. The Custom 74 was on my list for a little while, but I don't know. I think that to me, it looks like a very thin pen. I have like enormous hands. So like the bigger the better for me. And I don't know, something about the Custom 74 looks like it won't be as comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be wrong. But I'm definitely gonna go with the broad when I get that 823 eventually. I also have Leonardo on my list. And a Visconti, and one that's not super expensive. So for some reason, I have collected all of these. I just was looking at these today. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 Kaweco Sports. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't know. It's like, I understand, like they come in different colors, and I guess it's fun to collect them. But then now I'm looking at them, I'm like, you don't need that. You don't need those.
I reduced my collection to 3.
Yeah, that's a good number, and that's probably what I will do too. I was thinking about like which ones I would keep. Definitely the brass. I do like the AL Sport is nice too. And then as far as like the plastic ones, I don't know. I'd probably go with the Sage just because it's my favorite color. But Kaweco has the Supra.
Yes.
What is it called? Supra with a bigger nib on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my list too. I would definitely want to try that out. Or if not that, then they have a couple of those other ones. Like I think it's the Kaweco Original.
Mm-hmm. The ones that look like a Sport but are just bigger. Yeah.
I think those also have a bigger nib on them. So I think just try those out.
One has the same size as the Sport and one has a bigger nib.
Okay.
So you need to be careful when you buy
yes, I will.
Which nib you're getting.
I won't order it when I'm drinking a lot of Chardonnay.
So what I'm gathering is that you just enjoy exploring the fountain pens that you have, but you also are super open to just getting more. If you're interested in one, then if you have the funds, you just get it. Do you feel like that? So what Leanne and I talked in our other video is that I feel like I'm not a collector maybe. So I don't want to just have the fountain pens to have them. I want to use them. And
I would say that's me too, for sure.
So is there like a number that you say, oh, this is too much? Those pens, that's too many fountain pens? Or
I would like to keep my collection to under 20. I feel like that is kind of a manageable number, but I'm not there yet.
But you're also not feeling like you have to do this no matter what. It's just something that you're aspiring to.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube never cost me so much money. I mean, for real. It's like the less I watch to YouTube, the less I spend on stuff like that, just because I can be talked into pretty much anything to buy anything. But obviously 20 pens is kind of where I would like to be, but I'm not feeling any pressure to get there like immediately. Just because I have enough space for the collection that I have, and I'm still having fun like playing around with them. And just as my collection grows, I'm realizing the pens that I don't reach for, and those will probably move out and other pens will come in. And it's just going to be that kind of a flow, you know, in and out.
I really like that approach. So that was such a fun conversation, Lorelei. I was really, it was such a fun time. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to share all of your fountain pens and your likes and dislikes with us today. If you want to head over to Lorelei's channel, she will have a video for you today as well. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me. I couldn't believe it that you even asked me.
Of course. I want to talk to everyone in the community. How about that?
Well, I am very excited to see all of your future videos because the one you did with Leanne was so great.
And we definitely talked about doing more of those as well.
Good.
So thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you would like to be on a video with me, just leave a comment down below and check out Lorelei's channel over there. Thank you so much. Bye. I really greatly appreciate Lorelei for coming on today. I had great plans, but my mental health is not the best at the moment. We are moving soon, and originally I thought that wasn't going to affect me anyway, but I was wrong. So I need to put this series that didn't really start yet on hold for a while until I'm settled in the new place. But then I hope that y'all are really excited and want to chat with me, and we'll start maybe in July, if that works out for me. But I really enjoyed that conversation, and when I just rewatched it, I felt so inspired to definitely continue with this. So yeah, this was the first sneak peek. More is going to come soon, but not as soon as I had hoped. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you soon. Bye.